Hi, this is Dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into a microphone. Why? Well, just because I can. And I continue with the sinking city, Blind. Now, unfortunately, it seems I'm in for another long and tedious sort of, running around quest, because there are those rumors about, letters about different parts of the city, and there's like a bajillion of them. I've read all of them already in the past, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to reread a particular one that I'm going to give it some context. So, the visions are testing me, playing with my mind. My old forgotten fears come to life. When I was small, I was afraid to stay alone. I thought my parents would leave and never come back. Today I went to the eastern streets of Coverside, and the visions came on the corner of St. Elmo Lane and Kingsport Street. I was alone, forgotten in a locked room, hungry and frightened. It was so scary to stay inside, but everything was much worse behind the door. Something scratched in the corridor, and there were terrifying screams from the outside. I could not run, could not hide. I just waited for Mum to return. Okay, so Coverside, Elmo Lane, and Kingsport Street. Coverside. Okay, that's Kingsport Street. And that's Elmo Lane. I guess the corner is right here. So I'll go to here and then take the boat. Okay. FM. I don't know where Mommy and Daddy went. Mommy kissed me on the forehead and handed me Mr. Teddy and left so many days ago. I am all by myself and Mr. Teddy and I are cold and wet. If you have blankies, I would be so happy. If you are a nice people and you find this note, I live in a brown house with lots of flowers, but they are wet and sad now. My name is Timmy, and if you help me, we can be the very best friends. Just please no more monsters. I am all red and sticky. But by that, do you mean you're all bloody? That's a very weird way to write about it, because if anything, if I was a child, even if I didn't entirely understand the relationship between blood and being hurt, I would probably concentrate on the fact that I am hurt, that I feel pain, rather than I'm red and sticky, unless it wasn't his blood, which would explain a lot, because then he could be very confused, if he didn't really understand what blood was, and he had someone else's blood on him that wouldn't hurt him. So yeah, I think that's the most sensible sort of explanation. Okay, so the next note. I'm afraid someone stalks me. It started when I visited Western Advent and had a vision at the intersection of Purity Road and Oak Street. I saw a mirror full of reflections and someone trapped trying in vain to escape. His expression and fear and panic shook me deeply. After that, a very tall and skinny man started following me in the distance. What troubles me is that I see him in the reflections, but have never caught a straight view of this stalker. I'm sure the police will mock me if I come asking for protection. Sometimes seems it is time to buy a good trustworthy gun and start to practice. Okay, so Advent, Purity Road and Oak Street. Advent, Purity Road and Oak Street, which is right here. Okay, it's actually probably easiest to get from here. Purity Road and Oak Street. In the mirror, he's gone. Ever since the infernal flood began, I kept seeing him in the mirror, the man who stole my reflection. He wore my skin like a suit, but there was nothing human beneath it. He knew I was on the other side, and was looking straight at me. I covered every mirror in my house, but in vain. I could still see him in the window panes, in every puddle, even in other people's eyes. The neighbors started to look at me strangely. I couldn't sleep. I saw his face in the nightmares, and when I woke up I heard whispers coming from the looking glass. But now he's gone. I uncovered the mirror to smash it to pieces, and he's gone. There's nothing in it, no reflection at all. But I feel like I'm not alone. Okay, so what do I want now? Like, I don't know. I don't have the rifle or the submachine gun yet, so I don't know which skill to upgrade. I guess I don't want to go into traps because I'm not using them, like, at all. Like, I guess I'll go for this. Falling from heights deals half the damage, because sometimes I died. Like, I died like 3 times falling from heights. Although that seems like a waste of a skill point. I'll go into rifles, I guess. Higher proficiency with a battle rifle. Damage increase 20%. I have no idea which weapon I'm going to get next. Is it going to be the rifle? Or the submachine gun? There's no way of knowing, really. No matter how different my visions may be, they are always so frightening. Today it was a man. He left a house in southern Old Grove on Warwick Street, somewhere between Seaside and Hillside. Our eyes met, and I immediately felt burning exultation, a wild torrent of emotions. I saw him among the monstrosities, touching them, embracing, kissing. The vision was so intense. I bent in two and threw up all of my breakfast. He walked past, saying something like, "Cursed newcomers," and I prayed he wouldn't stop to help. Even now, when I close my eyes, I see the creatures around the man. Okay, so Warwick Street between Seaside and Hillside. Warwick Street. Right here, between Hillside and what? Where's Seaside? Hillside is here, and Seaside is right here. Okay, so somewhere on this stretch then. It's extraordinary, incredible, fabulous. I was right. I told them we weren't alone, that the ocean was talking to me, and now that it's flooding in, the ocean brings them with him. All those buffoons who could laugh behind my back, they now fear these wonders. At the sights of these magnificent specimens they run in all directions, screaming. They do not realize the incredible chance they have to admire them, to contemplate their splendor. I need to get closer to those creatures, closer, ever closer. I will finally be able to be recognized for my talent. One of those creatures might even carry my name. I will be praised in all the universities. They can't ignore me now. They'll stop thinking I'm mad. Oh joy, what a pleasure. Come see me, I await your arrival. I will take good care of you. Okay, so he was like, he had the visions of those creatures, or like he suspected they exist, and people were laughing at him, calling him mad, and then they came with the flood and he was like vindicated. Okay, I have to pause for a second, be right back. Okay, I'm back. So what it was that I was doing? I was going to the next letter, I guess. It's going relatively quickly. It's less painful than I worried it might be. Tonight the air forced me to leave the hotel. The putrid smell of rotting seaweed and fish made it hard to breathe. I remembered a huge apple tree and thought it might be nicer there. Moreover, I was afraid that the hotel owner would see my seizures. The visions occurred when I was a few blocks away from the apple tree, walking the E. Brown Street in Central Shells. I felt like I was drowning. I ran forward when I realized I passed the street of St. Michael's Church. I felt the water surrounding me, pressing, calling. I needed all my will to fight the desire to go to the mere and sink to its depths. Okay, so walking the E. Brown Street in Central Shells. And then the other name is St. Michael's Street. Central Shells. E. Brown Street in Central Shells, and he was walking until he got to St. Michael's. Okay, St. Michael's is right here, so I guess I'll walk the entirety of E. Brown Street. It's not that long. Okay, so this is a scrapyard of some kind. I unfortunately don't think... Okay, this seems important for something, so I should probably keep that in the back of my head. Oh, it's another one of those... R. Pigman, ready for the trip. Next address, Northern Coverside, crossroad of Warwick Street and Usher Road. Does anyone have any copies of his paintings? I want one or two. Yeah, Pigman is a character from one of Lovecraft's stories. He was this mad painter, or was he a painter, or was he like a photojournalist? He made pictures regardless of what method he used. He made pictures of like horrible monsters, and everyone thought he had like a very vivid, horrible imagination, but then the twist of the story is that he drew them all from nature. Functional brain cylinders, new case. Oh damn it. I found a weird looking cylindrical device with a brain inside. It seems to be operational, but I'm not sure it was made by a human. There was a delivery form attached to it. Seems like there are more of those devices around the city. Okay, so that's another one of those run around like a madman kind of quests. I'm not a super big fan. Walking E. Brown in Central Shells. Run forward when I pass the street of St. Michael's Church. Okay, so he was walking down this street. Now, in all of the other places, there was a symbol, like a symbol of an eye. Yeah, right, like this one. My cherished flock, K, I believe, has forsaken us, assuming of course any such being exists. Are we to die frightened? Are we to die mad? That would be merciful indeed in the face of this second flood. There will be no rainbow to blossom over our corpses. This is a reference to the biblical flood, because in the aftermath of, I believe, don't quote me on that, I'm not like super knowledgeable in theology, I'm not a religious person myself, but I believe it's a reference to the fact that after the flood, has subsided, Noah has struck sort of like another covenant with God, or at the very least, the sign of the rainbow was the sign that God has like not abandoned him completely. The sea beckons to me in a way scripture never has, and she has always done so since beasts who would be men oozed from her briny womb. I will go to seek her soon, and draw her salt-laden baptismal breath into my own lungs. May she forgive us all for our hubris. Your shepherd, Reverend Zachariah James Baker. I was walking the Lambert Street again in Eastern Reed Heights when it happened. It's not just a vision, but a noise. Hissing radio static growing louder and louder and louder. Voices from afar were lost in it, crying desperately. I tried not to show how bad it was. I was afraid to reveal it to the locals. The images came after I passed Bullock Street towards Helock Street. The hissing flooded my mind, and I saw a man surrounded by radios talking to them. He was dying, I felt it, and when it happened, the vision was gone. Okay, so past Bullock Street towards Helock Street. And what was the first name of the street? Lambert Street. Reed Heights. Lambert Street is right here, and past Bullock Street towards what? Towards Helock Street, right? Yeah. So he was coming from this direction then. Okay. I don't think... Oh, this is it. It has the symbol. At first I didn't notice this, just this. My name is, well, I am uncertain. It is lost in static. I do not know anything, I have lost it all. My mind is little but static, interspread with bits from the radio serial that was my life. No, my life, my existence. I hear names, Margaret, Jonathan, Albert. I hear dates, places. June the 7th, 1912, at a church on a hill. It is these beats I live for. It is the static that I will end my life for. Every day, for as long as I can remember, the static has gotten louder. It has sunk deeper as the voices grow quieter. They are being replaced. I am losing what little I have left. A new voice, unintelligible, yet one I understand more clearly than any radio program in my head. I fear for what I will become when I can no longer hold on. I am choosing to go before the static or the voice within it becomes me. Goodbye, Oakmont. I have sunk even farther than you. I was afraid of the bathroom and the kitchen sink. Each time I want to wash my hands, I tremble in fear. What if they will talk to me? This began after a vision in Western Reed Heights, near the crossing of Iron Ward and Baker Streets. I saw a man, naked and covered in blood, in a room without doors or windows. Surrounded by the dark holes of the pipes, he was cutting himself piece by piece, feeding those copper mouths. They are whispering with voices so sweet and promising, but full of hunger and hatred. How could he believe them? Could he even escape? And had they noticed me? Okay, so Avon, Ward and Baker in Reed Heights. Avon, Baker and Ward. Okay, right here. Oh, Mr. Bigley, the pipes are calling. I think you will recall that I have expressed concern about the drains in my bathroom numerous times over the last month. Obviously rattles, clunks and gurgles are of no concern to you, as you are yet to make a single visit despite your assurances. But what about the voices, Mr. Bigley? Will they be enough to get your wrench in hand? Well, it's too late. No amount of tinkering or nut tightening can take back the offer they've made. How could I refuse? They say all I have to do is to come down and join them. They have shown me the way. I don't like or understand it, but they say they've done it many times. I just need a sharp knife. I will join them piece by piece, and when I'm all gone up here, I will be whole again down there, whole and glorious. I am nervous, but they have assured me. That said, you assured me too. I have no choice. They offered immortality, ecstasy, and secrets unbound. But best of all, Mr. Bigley, the pipes are silent down there. I have been assured. Okay, this is pretty morbid for me to laugh at, but I find this story to be a little bit hilarious because this guy was essentially driven mad by the fact that his plumbing was like not okay, and he cut himself to pieces and stuck those pieces into the pipes just because he hoped he would be quiet down there. Sharpshooter, hone your eye, gaining a chance to deal double damage with the battle rifle. Well, first I have to acquire the battle rifle, which I still don't know how long will that be. I can't help but turn around at any noise after what I saw yesterday. I walked down Murdoch Avenue in Western Advent, and near Oak Street I was hit with an excruciating migraine. My nose started to bleed and visions came. I saw one man writing a letter, and another about to strike him from behind. Somehow I was both the spectator and the sitting man, but no matter how I cried, warnings or tried to move, it didn't work. It seems I lost consciousness when the killer hit the man's head, and it took me several hours to get back to the hotel after that. Okay, Murdoch Avenue and Oak Street. Murdoch Avenue and Oak Street. Oak Street is here. Murdoch Avenue is here. Okay. The great old one said, "The world is indeed comic, but the joke is on mankind." Is that a quote by a literal great old one? Near Oak Street he was hit with a vision. So I am near Oak Street. Oh, okay. Oh no. My dear Clara, It has been years since we last saw each other, and I still can't sleep without looking at the picture you sent me of your family. I wish I had something to show, but pictures of this place would only bring you nightmares. What was I thinking when I left our hometown? I fear that I might be losing my sanity. You remember Dumont, my neighbor that works in the docks? I mentioned him in the previous letter. He was always a good friend, but I don't know what happened. He started screaming in the middle of the night, chanting about lost cities and saying strange words. I was never a religious man, but I don't know how to explain his condition through science. I see strange things each time I look out the window, and I don't know if they are really there, or if it's just my mind playing with the mist. Somehow the mad words of my friends start to make more sense each time I look at those wild and incomprehensible shapes. I'll return home as soon as I have enough money to do so. I hope to survive all this. Your beloved brother, Victor. Well, I think he won't actually survive all this, because I'm pretty sure I just killed him. After the vision, I shake in fear at the sound of a child's cry. It happened in Western Reed Heights on Washington Street. I passed Avon towards Oak Street but saw it. The thing was running so fast I didn't even understand what it was. It jumped from the window and the vision struck me immediately. I saw a man, a doctor, hiding in a room. He was writing something with a shaking hand, something like a last will. And then I saw the thing stalking him, a fetus on thin pointy legs, with a little face full of evil and hatred. It's shrieking, I can't forget it. Okay, so he was walking on Washington Street towards Oak Street. On Washington Street towards Oak Street. What? It doesn't make sense. You can't do that because... He was walking... he passed Avon Street. Okay, Washington Street and Avon... Reed Heights. Okay, so it's a different... Reed Heights, you say? So Avon has to be on this side. I was looking at Advent. Although that still seems to make little sense to me. Like, let me find Avon. Maybe then it'll become a little bit more clear. Okay, Washington Street continues through here, I guess. It is a street that goes like this. So he was walking down Washington towards what? Towards Oak Street. So he was walking this way, and he passed Avon? What? How is that even possible? Like, I think he means a place somewhere over here in this stretch. On Washington Street, heading towards Oak Street. Yeah, it can't be, like, there's no different place where it could be. Are you telling me I wasn't here? That's impossible, what is it? Like... Yeah, I very definitely was here. This is the hospital where one of the mystic tomes was? How could I not find it before? My dearest comfort, if my scroll is an illegible scribble, forgive me. The shock of what I have delivered from that poor young woman's womb has affected my nerves. Her guttural screams are still ringing in my ears, and her birth tragedy lurks near where I hide. Had my attendant not been attacked first, I would have certainly shared her fate. The wiggling abomination that erupted from the waif's belly leapt from her body and attached itself to the nurse's throat with a wet smacking sound. Pulled behind it, the taut umbilical cord tore out the placenta in an eruption of bright blood that soaked my gown. Stunned, I looked into the mother's bulging eyes as she convulsed and bit off her tongue between the clenched, grinding teeth. Falling backward in horror, I crawled behind a medical cabinet in the operating theater. I can now hear the sloshing movement of the afterbirth sliding across the floor as the terrible infant silently approaches. I write this account on my surgical mask with the sturdy pen you gifted me last year near the Oakmont Commons. May it now serve as my only weapon against the deformed babe. Sincere thanks, Sebastian. I will never not be amazed by the fact that people, in dire situations, and sometimes even in the middle of actually being attacked, choose to write, long messages instead of applying their strength to something else that would be more productive towards saving their lives. Now I must say that day and night cycle in this game is pretty cool. Like the atmosphere of the city changes a lot depending on the weather. Like sometimes it's very foggy and it feels almost like, you know, Silent Hill or something. Sometimes it's pretty bright and almost normal looking. So overall, that's definitely something the game does kind of well, for what it's worth. The local Innsmouthers scare me a lot. I've never seen a place with so many ill people. Their faces pursue me even in visions. Recently I was in the northern part of Grimhaven Bay, walking down Whisper Street. I barely made it to Hubert Avenue when the visions came. I stood among Innsmouthers disguised as one of them and listened. Their leader read the story of a captain participating in pagan rites, copulating with savage witches and beasts, bringing sacrifices. I still remember his name, Obed. Yeah, that's the story of Obed Marsh, the first of the Innsmouthers that made a pact with the Deep Ones. Okay, so Whisper Avenue, Hubert Avenue. Whisper Avenue. No, Whisper Street. Where's Hubert Avenue? Right here. Okay. Yeah, I think this is the right place. It had the swirly symbol. Robert Marsh's diary, 21st of March 1856, New South Wales. On that day we arrived near Bow's Pyramid, a giant rock 2,000 feet high extruding from the sea. The air is poisoned all around it, and you can barely see the tip of the monolith. The catch is good here, and it brought us more gold. I had to give them 2 slave women we bought in Sumatra. Wretches were terrified when they saw them. Good riddance. We landed on Lord Howe Island, a few nautical miles away, for fresh water and fruit. The Hetty dinghy was put at sea at 8:15 a.m. Last time we were here, in 1847, there were 3 settlers and their aboriginal wives. This time, only the women remained, and they were not the same. Tattooed, their eyes were red with blood, and dead animal carcasses were strewn around the camp. They slept on the floor besides the corpses. We drank and danced with them, and one played a strange musical flute with sounds we never heard before. One of them took me to her hut. While I was at it between her legs in the dark, Matthews came with a torch, and I could see that above me the dead husband was hooked to the roof, the skin over his face dried like a 100-year-old apple. Bones and clothes he was, his mouth open and distorted in an endless shout. I can still see his eyes, alive, rolling, looking at me. The witch was laughing hard while whipping her thighs, all her teeth filed to a point like a wolf or a shark. We fled this cursed place, leaving the witches behind. Today I fell asleep on the street. I'm sure it's connected to my visions somehow, because I felt the same nausea and headache as before they strike. It happened in Coverside, near the corner of Tanner Street and Old Church Road. I felt dizzy and my mouth was full of bittersweet taste. I saw a woman with kind eyes, giving me a drink and whispering something. Immediately after that I fell asleep, and spent nearly half a day lying in the dirt like a hobo. It's a miracle no one stole anything from me. Okay, so Tanner Street and Old Church Road in Coverside. Tanner Street? Okay, so right here. Oh, damn it. Near the corner of Tanner Street and Old Church Road. Yeah, so by all means, it is right here. By all accounts. Okay, that's the Ferris wheel. Ah, I guess the Tanner Street continues on the other side as well. The recipe was left to me by my grandmother, and when Lily was little, I used it quite often. A couple of drops in her milk, and she slept sweetly all night. My husband and I finally had a little time for each other. Of course, that was a long time ago, and since that I haven't needed Grandma's sleeping elixir, but now everything has changed. It was 2 days ago that Bill barricaded the windows because we could not bear to see the corpses on the street. We're locked in and we're out of food. The worst are the nights. Impossible to sleep because of the squeals of death and other terrible sounds. We should flee, but there is no place to go. I am afraid as the fate draws near that we'll end up as the bakers. I don't want this for my little Lily. While my husband barred the entrance, I made my grandmother's tea. Lily drank her dose and went to bed. And Bill's getting faint too. It's time for me to join them. Good night, Oakmont. Okay, I guess they all committed suicide. Yeah, here's the woman, and where's the child? Like, I guess there are no children in this game, sort of, period. The R. Pickman, The cylinder base is covered in fingerprints and traces of paint. Okay, so I'm done with that quest. I've invested in the rifle, so I guess let's go down this. You can carry three more rifle rounds. I have no idea whether I will get the submachine gun or the rifle first. I have no way of knowing, but you know, either way I assume eventually I'll get all of them, so I might as well be ready for that moment. Unfortunately, it seems to me my next quest, which is this, is a bit of a fetch quest as well, but I will attend to it next time. For now, this episode has been long enough, so I'm going to save and end it for now. That's all for this one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.